buddy. Come on.
Hello everyone, I'm Josh Stepanek and we will discuss alcohol, rape, and sexual consent in this discussion group. But before we start, we're going to do a little icebreaker. So to start off, one person of my choosing will stand up and make a statement about themselves. Example, I like watching football. Someone else for whom that is also true walks up and joins arms with that person. The second person then also does the same thing, saying, I like dogs. The only one person can join the circle at that time. The exercise ends when everyone is standing arm in arm in a circle, and it might take several times to get it right. So let's start right here.
Alright. Hello everyone, I'm Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Alright, and I like watching football. Now that, since that was mentioned, I'll say yes to that one.
Alright. How's it going there, Phil?
Hey, hi there.
Alright, I'm Ryan, and I like watching basketball and playing basketball.
Hey Ryan,
How's it going?
I'm Zach, and I like dogs. I hate dogs.
Hi everyone, I'm Lee and I like coffee. I'm Tori and I like the color yellow.
Ooh, yellow.
Who wants
It's different.
No one?
Wow.
No one? Okay. I like
Maddie, do you like yellow?
No.
Oh.
sushi.
Ah.
Ooh, sushi.
I'm Mackenzie and I like ice cream.
Say something I like, Maddie.
My name is Maddie and I like basketball.
Already been said.
Can we repeat? Teacher?
That's alright.
Sure, you can repeat.
You got a guess now.
Oh,
No.
one left.
Oh shoot, I got
one
one.
left. No, you got one left.
My name's Colin, and
What do you like?
I like golf. Would you look at that?
Okay, now you have to join circle.
Well,
Well-
no, wait. So
Yeah, you
you
gotta
have to
reconnect.
say something that Phil might like.
Josh, do you have to participate?
No, I
I
don't.
can't link.
So you guys can link.
All right.
Phil likes you.
My name's Nick, and I like German short-haired pointers.
Oh, you.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, one big happy.
You guys must be friends.
There we go.
Nice. All right, let's break it up. Good work, everyone.
Good to meet you guys.
Good work.
Excellent.
I think we're supposed to do something.
Way to meet everyone. All right. Yes, that was a nice, easy one. Just to break the ice, since not a whole lot of us know each other here. But let's just kind of jump into our topic here. What I want to first do is ask you guys, or do a little exercise here, question and answer, and I'll ask a question and everyone here kind of participates and says their opinion on this. So the question here is, what does it mean to be a leader? That can be in sports, at the professional level, or the business level, or in general at school, at home, amongst your friends, and so on. So anyone can go. Anybody.
I'd say a leader is someone who inspires and motivates and directs people to achieve a greater good than they could on their own. A leader is someone who, a good leader is someone who is willing to put others before themselves, but still direct, and it's a lot of responsibility.
Beautiful.
I think a leader is someone who puts others first and foremost. Would be my biggest asset.
I think it's someone who self-sacrifices too. I think it's somebody that recognizes the needs, and regardless of how much or how hard they have to work, they're still going to sacrifice themselves to get it done. Not just for the sake of themselves, but for the sake of whoever they're leading.
Anyone else?
Something else about a leader is, well, at least a good leader is people will follow them. Like it's not even cheesy or corny or something like that. It's I will follow this person. I will let them take me wherever they are planning on going or doing.
So also, I would think too, leader is somebody with strong values that everyone can imitate and model after. Some other ones, I think we touched on this too. Good listener, courageous, hardworking, respected and respectful to the people around them. So I think we all kind of touched on that. But with this, if we are here to talk about alcohol, rape, and sexual consent, why would I ask you about leadership? Would you say?
The leaders probably don't do any of those things. Or a good leader is one that you're not gonna have to worry about that kind of stuff with.
Yeah, I would say a leader is someone who would take the initiative to do the right thing, even if there's a lot of peer pressure to do the other thing and just follow the group.
So if that meant losing your friends or losing, let's say, maybe you might be popular on campus, you might lose your popularity on campus to do the right thing. Is that what obviously a leader is? What we all expect in a leader, instead of everyone following.
Leaders branch out from the norm. The best one.
That's one. Colin, got anything?
What was the question?
Thank you.
I was zoning out.
Thank
Gotta
you.
be more exciting.
Yes, thank you. To close this part of the discussion, I'll just say that I'm going to ask you to consider doing what most people aren't willing to do. It takes strong leadership and courage to stand up to friends and colleagues who are crossing the boundaries when it comes to alcohol or sex. And with that, it's our obligation to look after one another, especially if something serious was to occur. So I think we all kind of get it that if something, and we're old enough now to realize that something was to happen on campus or at our job or at a sport, we would stand up and be leaders. Not because that's what's expected, but with our strong morals and values, how we've been raised, and that's the right thing to do. So, the next thing we will do here is agree, disagree, and unsure question. So with this, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and if you agree with it, you're going to sit over by Colin. If you disagree with it, you're going to sit over by Nick, and if you're unsure, you're going to sit right in the middle. All right? But the catch is, you're going to explain to me why you agree with that statement, why you disagree with it, and why you're unsure. And if you're unsure, you have to pick a spot whether you agree or disagree as we continue the discussion. Understand? Everyone get that? All right, perfect.
So agrees Colin and disagrees over here.
Disagrees over there, unsure is right there. If you're unsure, you have to explain why as well as the other two, but you have to branch off later on. Okay, so the question here is, boys and men don't have to be concerned with the rape, battery, or even sexual consent because these are women's issues. Do you agree, disagree, or unsure?
I'm just saying disagree. I'll vocalize.
Okay. It looks like we all disagree. Why do we disagree with this?
I disagree with it because I know men who have had to deal with such issues. And it's hurt them in their life. Maybe not externally, but internally.
Okay.
They can be just as responsible as women, or irresponsible, so I mean, it's not just one person,
All right.
not one side.
I would say that men are most often the perpetrators, but it can also go both ways, that men can be in the same situation that women are.
Anyone else?
We all have to state our piece.
Not all, but if anyone else wants to add anything. Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ryan and Phil, even if statistically it is men that are normally the perpetrators, it still can go both ways, and I think you should stick by each other. It's not just based on a gender, it's not just solely a woman's issue.
Perfect. I think that's what we hit on there with the point that we try to reframe this and shift it to the point of getting men and women involved, not just being a women's issue, but both. Because historically it shows that it's technically considered a female issue, what our culture considers this as important. So instead we got to break the norm like we all talked about and try and get men involved with this. So a follow-up question for that would be when something is considered a woman's issue, what message does that send to men about their involvement?
So then,
When something is considered a woman's issue, what message does that send to men about their involvement?
It diminishes it. It certainly feels like it diminishes it. Like you're not a part of this, even if you want to be and help fight an issue or something like that.
Yeah, because if it's a woman's issue, I mean, you could look at a job where, you know, a majority of CEOs of companies are probably white males. So a woman's got to fight for that kind of position a lot harder than a man does. And in the same sense, a man's got to fight a lot harder to make his voice heard if something happens than a woman does in a situation like that. Whereas, because they have the issue, just like a CEO might already have the job.
Anybody else? Anything? I guess also with that, why would these issues be considered a woman's issue?
Well, if it affects women mostly, like it's just kind of law of averages, you're going to have more of one sex arguing about that issue, and so it's like, well, it's kind of their issues. Not many of the other sex deals with that issue, so I mean, kind of, it's just kind of how it is a little bit, but then still you can't close off half the population just because it's mostly this, but because it's one side or whatever.
But you're asking why it's a woman's issue?
Why do you think society thinks it can lean towards just a woman's issue instead of?
Probably just from social cues and how we're taught men and women are supposed to act.
And because they assume that men can defend themselves and women can't. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
No.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
I think sometimes it kind of goes under the radar too, because a lot of men feel that they don't want to necessarily talk about something like that. It's not a cool thing for them to talk about. So, like Helen was saying, that men can usually, stick up for themselves more than women can. And no man really wants to tell another man that, hey, this woman basically overpowered me and sexually assaulted me.
I think it goes with genetics too. I feel like as a male, there are certain tendencies that we have due to testosterone levels that give us certain drives to perform certain actions, and it's scientifically proven that males typically have a higher drive in that area than women do. So you keep that into play and keep that in mind, as well as men typically having a higher ego drive as well. So when you combine those two, don't want to say it's a competition, but it's certainly one of those things where men don't view it as big of an issue because they're driven to do those things, as opposed to women who, if they're driven to do those types of things, they're looked at in a negative light.
Well, what I was just
Opinion?
gonna branch off with that and kind of conclude with it was to deal with these problems head on and encourage more leadership and involvement. Males have to step outside of the sideline. We can't continue to give males the free pass of, okay, well, this is going on, somebody else is gonna handle it. And I think a lot of times, I think we kind of all hit it to a point where society portrays it as, okay, women's issue, men shouldn't get involved in certain things because of whatever reason it is. But in order to correct a lot of these problems, men do need to step up. They are technically considered natural leaders, and they need to step up and not just look on the sidelines, so to speak, but to step up and come up with a problem and help women solve it head on. So that was perfect. All right, go sit back down.
Find your spots.
Find your spots. We got two
Done.
more questions
Done.
with this, so it's perfect. Good work, guys. Nice. Perfect on time. All right, question number 2. It's on alcohol and sexual consent. Finally got the word right. There we go. It's okay for 2 intoxicated adults to engage in sexual activity. Unsure? Agree? Disagree?
Agree. I'm just staying here.
I think I agree.
I think I
Right
agree.
there. Disagree right there.
Adults,
You said
so
2.
they're all
Yeah, you
above
said
18.
Above 18. We'll say it's above 18.
21.
No underage drinking.
It's 21.
Okay.
True.
We're not
Yeah.
covering alcohol right now.
I see where you're coming from.
So, you guys think it's okay for 2 intoxicated adults to engage in sexual activity. And you guys are unsure. We'll start with this group right here. Why do you guys agree with this statement?
Well, I take it like driving a car. Like, even if you're intoxicated, you chose to get behind the car and drive. So.
Switch inside?
Yeah.
No,
but is
but
it
you can't.
okay?
I'm not saying it's okay, but it's still you're consenting to drive.
But we could
And
also,
it-
you know, we could
But then-
also, we could also choose to burn the house down, but do we
But I'm
want
just
to burn
saying
the
you
house
don't-
down?
You don't blame either person, because if one of them's intoxicated, the other is not,
Mhm.
then it's an issue.
No,
But if they're both intoxicated,
but then do they
They
have,
both.
yeah, but then do they have the wherewithal to make a decision that's correct in the frame, are they in the frame of mind to where they can actually
well,
say?
it's hard for me to say when they're both intoxicated. Like it's
Are they
one
intoxicated
it's one
to the
thing.
same level, though?
So
Yeah,
what-
that's
so
why I
what-
chose
that's-
this
that's-
side
yeah,
because-
that's-
So is there a,
So what
There's
is
not really a right or
is
wrong.
there,
No.
is there
so
really a,
wouldn't a leader say, no, at this point in time, I realize we're both intoxicated, I'm gonna do the right thing and take the high ground? If we're talking
A
about
drunk
being
leader?
Could you do that if you were intoxicated?
Yeah,
I know,
it's
that's
a
what-
different. Yeah, it's a
But
different.
as Phil said, you always
But
have
what
a
if you're
choice.
both leaders
Oh, yeah,
and you
you
both
have-
decide to engage?
Yeah.
well, why are you unsure? Why are you unsure, Zach?
Because I don't think you're in the frame of mind to make an accurate decision. You're obviously, if you're intoxicated, you're not gonna have the same decision-making process as you would when you're sober. And like Nick said earlier, with testosterone hormone levels, that probably gets elevated at a time like that, so you're not necessarily thinking with your best intentions. I'm just
So
saying
you
you're not-
disagree?
You're still responsible.
So I mean, but
It's
I
made
also,
to
but I
be-
also,
Yeah.
but you're 2 adults.
Yeah.
So at the same time, like if you're sitting there and you're both,
Maybe
if
you
you're
just
both,
shouldn't drink too much.
if
Then
you're
it
both,
wouldn't
if
be
you're
an
both, if
issue.
you're both in the same state and you're both adults, yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. Now, if someone's
Taking
if someone's
advantage,
underage
yeah.
and someone's
Taking advantage.
20, older, then I think the situation's a lot different.
Oh yeah.
So.
Right, depending on the situation.
So that-
I would say it depends as well, but I chose this side just based off of that they're both under the same influence, same age, but I guess it would depend on the circumstances.
Well, how about this then? How many of you know the law in Michigan regarding alcohol and sexual consent? Anyone? Everyone know?
I've heard of it, I know.
No, the
Not
law.
off the top of my
No?
Okay,
The wording.
I'll read it for you. Here's the wording. Michigan state law thus states that a person who is intoxicated is legally unable to give consent to sexual activities, meaning that sexual intimacy with somebody who is mentally incapacitated meets the legal definition of sexual assault.
Okay.
Well, what if you're both?
If you're both,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
So he's disagree.
Well, let's think about this in this light. I mean, is it a crime to shoot somebody? Yeah, it's assault. What happens if two people shoot each other at the same time? Who's wrong? Well, they're both wrong because they both assaulted each
So
other.
what if someone dies?
Well,
Then the person,
Besides the point.
then the person who killed him.
Well, the point of the matter is each side of the argument, regardless of whether or not there's consent there or not, participated in activity while intoxicated, while inebriated. So they
Again,
made a
you
decision.
just don't do it, and we're all okay.
There's a lot of what ifs with this.
Yeah.
With this.
Right.
Yeah.
What if
But they did
this
do it.
age is different?
Now you have to get an answer.
Maddie, you're
Well,
in
how
the
about-
agree section.
And, but, I mean, based off, if you're gonna read what you just read, and me being unsure, I'll go with the disagree route.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the law.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we kind of touched on it, but how do you think alcohol affects legal consent for this though? Like,
Inhibits it.
Yeah.
it inhibits it.
Yeah.
Does
You
it
become
alcohol?
incapable of giving consent. You're not. I mean, you're not in a state. Where
I'd say at a certain point you are.
Yeah.
Well, what's a certain point? Because a certain point for Tori could be different
That's why
for
it's hard to.
Ryan. So let's say
That's why it's
Tori
hard.
has 2 drinks, and gives consent to have sex, but she might be all over the place. And 2 beers to you is like water. so, like, I mean,
I guess it depends on, does the law have a BAC where it's like, if you're at a .02 or above, then it's legally.
Is it the same as like the
I'm proud of you for knowing
.08?
those
Are you saying
terms.
0.2 or
What's
0.02?
I'm proud of you for knowing those terms.
Probably
Yeah.
.02.
So yeah, I mean, I think the law should, I guess, set those guidelines of.
But I think they do. It does.
That's why it does it.
Those
Or did, I
teacher.
just kind of.
that's something I'll have to look up for further discussion.
Google.
But I guess, okay, the final thing would be, how do you know if somebody is consenting to have sex? What is consent technically in this situation?
Go for it. Yep.
Saying yes.
I would say most people probably don't ask the blunt question of, will you have sex with me? So it kind of just goes on with the role play of,
Yeah. What if you're intoxicated and you think the next morning, I swear you asked me if I wanted chips, and I said yes. I'm just saying, you never know. Like based on how much you
Then
had
it's
to drink.
Like you said,
I
you
think
wanna
they
play
would know
shot.
real quick.
Or yeah, you want.
you know, play chess, but instead.
It would be like, okay, so consent would be if you're dancing at a party and the girl's flirting, you're flirting with a girl and they're flirting back with you technically a little bit, or they're kissing you back. Or if you go to a party and they follow you back to the dorm, is that considered consent?
I think it just goes back to being a leader, where you can do the right thing when no one's watching.
I feel like
That was a good, best point of being a leader, is doing the right thing when nobody's watching. Good point, Zachary.
Thank you.
I feel like at this point in this day and age, with everything is so contractual, like you have to have written consent for something. I mean, really, the only way that you can have true consent would be, either a written statement or something, physical proof of that. Otherwise, it's all hearsay.
Text message.
Right.
Because then you go back to societal norms and social cues and what's when if you had to go to a court case, who's going to win that court case 9 times out of 10,
Okay.
9.5 times out of 10.
So you guys are still unsure, right?
I would lead more to the
But is
disagree.
Yeah.
sexual consent based upon just coitus, or is this based upon,
Wow.
or is it based upon kissing? Is that going too far?
What?
Maybe
Is
just
it
if
based
they're
on
not
your work?
like
That work?
fighting against it, you're consenting, right?
Well,
Yes.
let's say,
But then it goes back to the whole he said, she said thing.
Yeah,
The next day when
that's-
she's
yeah.
like, well, I really didn't want to do that. Now that I have a clear mind, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to take you. I'm going to stick
Well,
your butt in
then
jail.
yeah, I guess it goes
well,
back
then this
to
is where I'm
that.
back to. At that point, that's where I'm back to like driving a car situation, where, okay, yeah, you didn't want to do it, but you did it. So, and you didn't say no, you consented. So,
What is saying there?
But
I would
the
say that
thing
it's-
is,
like, you
you
might
but you
regret
don't-
it. You're gonna
But
regret
the
it.
thing is when you but to your point, when you drive a car intoxicated, do you really know what you're doing?
No.
Like,
No,
you-
you don't.
Yeah.
That's-
So,
I
so how do
totally
you know?
agree
How
with
do you
that.
know you're consenting to sex?
Yeah, exactly.
What if
I know.
you, like when you drive a car, you're drunk and you drive a car. You could be thinking you're in an intoxicated state. You could be thinking you're dreaming and driving a Matchbox car.
I'm just saying you're
You
responsible.
know?
You're still responsible for it.
Oh yeah, you're
There's
still
some self. There's
responsible.
self-responsibility there.
But you lose that sense of self-responsibility when.
Correct.
you
But
don't
if I
have the-
drive and kill somebody
you're
when
responsible.
I'm drunk, I'm responsible for that.
Mhm.
So I can't say, oh well, I was drunk. I didn't mean to get in the car.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Correct, Amanda.
Good work, guys. Okay, well, a good example though that I use, I think a lot of us are aware of this person because they've been on ESPN a couple of years ago, was Brock Turner. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
No.
Brock
UCLA.
Turner, Stanford.
Stanford.
He was the Stanford swimmer who everyone considered
no,
to
that
be
was bad.
the next
That was bad.
Michael Phelps, who
I didn't think it was.
got drunk at
I
a
didn't think it
party
was considered that.
and
It's like it
had
was
sex with somebody who had passed out in the bathroom. And he,
I thought it was a
Sad.
dumpster outside.
well, he was also, he was obviously way intoxicated, and as it points out, she was way intoxicated. And she woke up and she realized that she was raped, and she went to the police. They found out who did it, and he was kicked off the swim team. And it went to court, but the thing was, he was only given 6 months in jail, though. So he was given leniency because they thought that they were both technically intoxicated. What is that? Is
Well, that's
there
just putting yourself in a bad
Mhm.
situation.
is there an
I mean-
extreme point?
I mean, yeah, you're probably gonna think I'm heartless for that, but if if the girl's in a state where she you can make a decision and have self-responsibility to even attempt to drive a car. If you put yourself into a state where you're passed out, you're basically like anything can happen. And that's not saying that it's right or wrong what he did, but that's
Yeah,
just saying
no.
that's just taking complete responsibility out of the window,
Well-
throwing out the window, and just giving yourself up to wherever the wind blows.
Yeah, well, from what I remember that story, I didn't think there was even consent. Like I thought you just passed out on the
Yeah.
side of the road. Like that's totally different to me. Like,
Yeah.
That just sounds
Like,
rape.
yeah, that's just
rape.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
just-
yeah. Where
it is
like
rape.
if a girl's
Right.
passed out on the side
Rape
of
is
the
not right.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
it's not
if
like
someone's
that.
in
Like,
if
there's-
someone's in a state like
there's
that,
difference
Some people
between, but
chose
there's
to drink
different.
and chose to have sex
Yeah,
with each other,
there's-
and I think it's okay for both of them.
Yeah, I think it's
Like-
different if you just get so drunk that you pass out. You still don't deserve to be
Yeah.
raped by any means.
and even
Yeah,
even
yeah,
in that
she's-
even in that sense, she could have been passed out and muttered something.
So it all
to
com-
where
it all comes
intoxicated
back
state,
to-
he took it a
Yeah.
different way.
It all
and,
comes back to consent and how and the levels
And that's
that
two
we're all
different
at.
levels there too.
Yeah.
The levels that
yeah.
we're at. So I guess with this, to conclude with that question, consent involves respect and respecting your partner's wishes and listening to what they have to say. If you don't know that person, this becomes more complicated due to the fact that you don't know their character. So I mean, it really just, I think we all
That's
kind
a lot of people don't have respect for people. If you're in a situation like that, that shows the type of person he is. You have to have a little respect for
Another-
female
yeah.
as it gets.
No, that's.
Well, okay. We'll get back to that. Get back to your seats. We'll have one more question here. And we will ask another sexual consent question. And it kind of pertains to alcohol as well. But just in some situations, when a woman says no to a sexual advance, she could mean yes to that.
Read that again. Read that again.
So in some
Like
situations,
sarcastically?
So flirting.
I didn't hear
Are you
it.
saying like flirting? Like no.
so when in some
Do that
situations,
again.
these are supposed to be vague though for you guys to think about and question and everything.
Okay.
So in some situations, when a woman says no to a sexual advance, she could mean yes to that.
False.
Okay.
Wait,
Sarcasm.
is this
Disagree?
agree? Disagree?
I'm sure. Agree. This
Wait, can
let's-
you read it one more time?
Yep.
In some situations, when a woman says no to a sexual advance, she could mean yes to that.
Doesn't matter what they mean if you get put
Well,
in
we're
the
not
court of
discussing
law.
yet. You gotta
Then
go.
have your have a spot somewhere else.
Sure.
Agree?
Oh no.
Disagree? Unsure.
Move over there.
I'm
not
could
ready.
mean yes.
That
by
no
saying
could mean yes.
I disagree with that.
Let's just get.
Yeah, I like to play devil's advocate.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. All right. Play the devil's advocate.
I like it.
Are you
Oh,
unsure?
yeah.
If we're gonna say sometimes,
Is that unsure or is that?
I'm
I might have to go
disagreeing.
unsure on
Is
that.
that unsure?
Oh, they're open.
All right.
I'm gonna go unsure.
Where are you unsure?
We're not unsure.
Oh, well, I'm going unsure, so.
Sit in the middle.
I'll be devil's advocate in the middle.
So, okay, why? Let's start right here. Why do you disagree with the statement? Why
I'm not sure how no can mean yes, so I just disagree.
no can mean yes? Okay.
In regards to legal terms, if we're talking legality.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk to
Like,
legality,
if we're
that's
talking
where I'm
strictly
stuck.
legality,
I did
doesn't
say no.
matter, doesn't matter, you know, what you thought that her intents were. You know, if she says no, intentions were.
By definition, the word no means.
It means no, exactly. And take that to court, you're not going anywhere. So by legal terms, absolutely not.
There's no opposite things like back when
Yeah.
we were kids. Like, oh, well, yes means no then, so. Now when it comes to certain matters, no means no.
No can mean yes.
Anyone else? Bill,
No, but I thought you meant yes.
why are you unsure?
I'm unsure because, yeah, from a legal standpoint, because there's some things with body language that, like, with flirting type of thing, where they could be saying, like, no,
They could be flirting and
stop,
flirt
like,
with
stop,
you.
stop, but they're saying, but at the same time, their body's saying, keep going type of thing, and if you stop, it just cuts it. So it's like,
But if they say stop,
but if they,
it's a
but
little
there's,
different
but
than-
there's, well, yeah, if they're saying, but and then there's a difference if they say no, type of thing. Yeah, then no, like,
Well, that
oh
was
yeah.
That was the question.
They said
Yeah,
No,
are
no,
they-
but
are
there's
they-
a difference.
are they
It's
saying-
like no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, are they
and then
saying no?
there's a difference between no and no.
All right.
There's a big difference between that.
Alright.
But
There's
but
not
in a
a
legal
difference.
but in a legal standpoint, there's
There wouldn't be a conversation about it though, unless it came to a legal standpoint.
Right.
probably.
Yeah.
So in that case.
Yes.
And maybe even if they're saying no in like a joking manner, like you said, maybe it's just because they
They're
don't-
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Maybe-
they're
I don't-
uncomfortable, and
but,
it still means
yeah.
Trying to be friendly.
it still means
Yeah.
no.
Right.
I still think
But-
we should stop
yeah,
regardless.
but-
The only way that this matters is if it ends up in the court of law, and the court
Exactly.
of law, no means no.
Okay. Why do you why do you agree with
No
this?
means no. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But in this sense, the reason I came over here is because I think in if you look at it in a perspective from no, saying no, but wanting to yes, I think that goes back to the whole aspect of what we started out, being a leader. I think someone, so you could be drunk at a party, and you can hold yourself accountable and have the self-responsibility to say no, because you know where you're at in a certain situation. But
But
deep
if
down
you're drunk, you
inside,
might not be able to stay no.
but they're not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just having the self-awareness and the self-responsibility to say no. But deep down inside, maybe they take that into account and they say, you know what, no right now, but I like this person, so we're some day down the line, I could say yes, kind of thing. So that's where I approached it from. Not like at a party, like in a long-term kind of thing. Not like, let's just go to a party and I'm just gonna say yes today. It was no 2 days ago, but yes today, you know,
Right.
not like no to say yes maybe someday, kind of thing.
Well, okay, I guess to branch off of that, like a question would be, how do gender roles come into play in like this scenario? Because you guys we kind of all hit that, but the unsure and the agree kind of point to that, to where it says girls say no, but in our culture, especially on college campuses and high school, early relationships, teens to young adults, boys will keep pursuing even though women will say no to that. I mean, no means pushing harder because men sometimes feel like,
That's what wins most of them in the court.
well, erase the legal aspect of the thing because I mean, I think guys, the guys in here, if a girl says no to you, you want to prove, and it doesn't even have to be sexual in this point. If it's no, you want to push harder to prove something to them, and you want to get their approval. Am I right?
Yeah, no hurt the ego. I know what you're saying.
Right. Right. So you kind of work harder for it. Yeah, I mean, now going into the sexual aspect of things, when alcohol is involved too, I mean, if you're even a little bit tipsy to all the way out of it, I mean, if a girl says no to you and it's not, if it's jokingly, I mean, you might take it as, okay, like, I might as well keep trying and pursue
So
something.
the only way you can play devil's advocate really is if she says, no, I shouldn't, but I do want to. I think that's a different
Or if you sit there and,
circumstance,
you know, through the grapevine heard that Susie told her friend Mary
Right.
that she likes you and wants to hook up with you at a party, and then she says no to your face, and you're like, okay, well, you might as well just send me an email and hit not behind your computer about it.
Because I mean,
I think that's a little specific
girls
there.
and guys can kind of play that game where they don't want to be considered a slut and just be like, yes, I want to go have sex. So they could say, no, I shouldn't, but maybe, possibly they do want to. That's the only way I can see the devil's advocate
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you were saying. Like, no means no.
Right.
But if you're sitting there
No,
like
that's-
you hear things or how you act in a certain situation, and you're just like, you know, then
Okay, are there different
Push that
types
bubble.
of...
You're trying to see where is that
Yeah,
no.
you're
Are you
trying-
really saying no, or
Yeah.
are you just acting like you're saying no,
yeah.
type of thing? And so you try to figure out, okay, you're waiting for that no.
What line can you cross?
Yeah, what you're
What
waiting for
line
that
can you
hard no,
hold
and
in
being
there?
like, okay, and then back
And
off.
sometimes girls may want guys to try to push harder, not
Yeah.
necessarily just for sex, but
Yeah,
just for,
Playing hard to get.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think that's all gender roles too. I think
We're gonna go
I
with
think
that
that
route,
goes
yeah.
into stereotyping how
Right.
situations go, or how, like, I mean, Nick said that earlier with ego-driven, hormonal-driven.
Well, I think, if you take a look at just males and females in general, the best analogy that I can come up with is that women view relationships with men that, they're getting to know as a dam. You only let a few through and the rest you keep out. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying with, okay, at what point in time are you going to be the guy that breaks through? At what point in time are you going to try and get through that and become one of those that she cares about? Whereas guys, I mean, it's just go, 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 go until, as we say in culture, until we get lucky, right? So it's,
Yeah, the lava.
Well, okay,
Play
are
the
there different types of no's in sexual situations? I think we
I think that's kind of what we touched on.
kind of hit. So,
Well, I think that's why there's safety words in BDSM type of stuff. Like,
how about better yet, do women and men have the right to say no at any given time? Like, can their minds change during any
Absolutely.
point during
absolutely.
sexual situations?
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah,
okay.
it can be a yes 1 minute and a no very next.
Yeah, because like I said, Susie told Mary that she wanted to have sex with you, but then she changed her mind.
Okay. I like that. Good discussion on that one. I guess to end with that one, a good example that our professor pointed out was the fact that she's a lawyer, and she had a case where a wife was suing her husband for rape. And with that, she said that she said no. She wasn't feeling it that day, and he took it as she wasn't saying no to me, she meant yes, and kept trying harder and harder and harder. She kept pushing away, saying no, and he ended up so-called raping her. In his defense, he said, yes, I did have sex with her, but it's the wife's duty to have sex with me whenever I want. So in that situation though, like as a husband and wife, is there Is there such thing as rape? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
like does that?
What did your teacher, what, that was her case?
Yes.
What was the ruling?
If I remember right, he was found guilty. But I mean, that kind of spins it off when women say no. It doesn't mean yes, because I mean, she's.
Well, I guess, like, yeah, there's a difference between a hard no and a playful no, if I want to go that route. But I'm assuming, at least if I was in a relationship and I'm like, we'd be so close that it'd just be yes or no right off the bat type of thing.
Alright.
Like, there wouldn't be any of that playful
And that's,
jibber jabber type of thing unless it was stated that's what we're gonna do tonight type of
and that
thing.
whole thing,
Like-
that whole case is a respect thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that guy has no respect for the woman he's with, and why they ever said vows to each other makes you wonder.
Mhm.
I think regardless of whether or not you have a vow with someone that, that you care about and you're legally bound to that person, just because you're legally bound doesn't give you the absolute right to treat them as property. They're still an individual, they're still a person. Do I believe that there can be rape in marriage? Absolutely. Because marriage does not, leave you exempt to the law. So.
Perfect. You hit it perfectly. I mean, and you said it exactly. Respect. Communication and respect are the keys to sexual consent, and especially in a relationship between wife and husband there. I mean, even though you're married, it's still the law and everything still comes into play there. So, perfect. You guys can go sit back in your chairs.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, we have one more.
I take this chair.
We have one more thing two more things. We have a scenario that I'll read, and I'll put you guys on the spot again, and then we are going to watch a short clip and have your perspective on that, and then we'll be done.
8 minutes is short.
Short video. All right, you'll like it. All right. So the scenario is called illegal motion. Okay. Illegal motion, yes. So here's the scenario. We are at a party. You see a friend trying to get an obviously drunk woman to have sex with him. She's not just buzzed. She's stumbling over her feet. You know the woman, and she seems reluctant to have sex. So your train of thought as that person is, they're both adults, but she can't be fully consenting if she's drunk, can she? I've heard about too many cases of sexual assault that start out like this. Could this be one in the making? What about my relationship to my friend? Is he older than me? Does he have more statues? Will he even listen to me? Is it part of my responsibility as a friend to provide him with some guidance? Okay, so I'll just reread that real quick. So you're at a party, you see a friend trying to get an obviously drunk woman to have sex with him. She's not buzzed, she's stumbling over her feet. You know the woman, and she seems reluctant. So it kind of plays into what we already talked about as a group. So the options, it says, is number 1, you do nothing, it's none of my business. Number 2, you talk to my friend, remind him that he has to be real careful in dealing sexually with a drunk woman, but back off if he won't listen. 3, try to convince my friend to leave the woman alone. 4, gather some of my other friends to distract him while others get the woman away. 5, find one or more of her friends and urge them to take her home. 6, tell the host or hostess of the party that I'm worried about the situation and warn them that they might have some legal responsibility to act. And 7, your personal opinion on that matter.
What was 2?
2 was talk to my friend, remind him that he has to be real careful in dealing with sexually with a drunk woman, but back off if you won't listen.
Can you do
So
more than 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do you can do all of them. You can do.
There's a progression to this.
I would do 5, 2, and 7.
for sure.
So 2,
That's
5,
all I would probably.
2, 5, and 7 is your person. 7's your personal opinion.
Oh,
So,
2, 5, 6. Yeah. 6.
So
6.
2,
Yeah,
5,
2
and
and
6.
6.
Yeah.
So why 2, 5, and 6? So 2 was talk to my friend.
Talk to him, and if
Well-
he doesn't listen, I mean, that's his choice at that point. And I mean, if you guys are as good of friends as you think, I think taking him under your wing and saying, dude, cut it out, should open his eyes to what he's doing. 5 was
5 was
her
the-
friends, get her out.
That was 6, I think.
5, find one or more of her friends and urge them to take her home.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, yeah, at that point, if she's drunk and stumbling around, I think you're cut off, you know? So, I mean, that's the easiest way to the solution is just to get her, remove yourself from it. And if she's not in a position to where she even knows what's going on, removing her from the situation makes everything probably a lot easier. for
And if
everybody.
nothing happened per se, I mean, like just, I don't know what to say about it, but I'm just saying, if nothing's really happened, it's just kind of like, okay, this could get ugly. I mean, you don't have to tell the bar or anything, because nothing's happened yet.
Yeah, no, I would say 6, just if
Tell
Two
you
and-
would
if
tell
two-
the host.
If
or-
2 and 5 don't go as planned, then I would just do 6.
you
Because
tell-
it's not your responsibility, you know, you're not the one making the decisions, you're the one trying to help people out. And if worse comes to worse and no one's gonna listen to you, then the people that are running the show, it's up to them.
So you wouldn't do number 1, nothing. It's none of my business.
No, because that goes back, like we talked about from the beginning, if you're a leader, you're gonna, I think a leader's not gonna back down from a challenge and take his morals and values and just throw them out the window and say, you know, people just can just do what they want. That's how it's gonna go. Even when you don't agree with a leader, they're still your leader, and you have respect for them. And if you can sit and look your friend in the face and tell them, dude, you're doing the wrong thing, I think they're gonna have a lot more respect for you when they wake up the next day and realize that they screwed up.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the first thing I do is go up to my buddy and be like, look at the situation you're in. You're not in a good place right now, and it could get you in horrible trouble, and you're not doing something right. This is wrong. And I imagine, at least with most of my friends, that would be enough, where they'd be like, oh, yeah, he's kind of right, type of thing, and then it'd be done, type of thing. But then, if they're just so drunk that they don't even realize what they're doing, then you have to step it up and move on to the next thing. Okay, we gotta separate them. They can't.
Yeah.
This is not right.
Well,
So-
how about this? Let's say, okay, we've all been to parties, and as men and women, I'll ask the women first. When you go to a party, or when you did go to the party in college, what's your objective? Like, do you go there knowing that you're gonna leave with somebody or have sex with somebody? Do you go there just to hang out and have fun, and if a guy approaches you, then we'll see how it goes? Or you're just going, you're gonna dance, you're gonna have fun, and then if something happens, you have a safe word or whatnot. And I know a lot of times you go up to a girl and you go, okay, do you want to dance with me? And they'll go, oh, I have a boyfriend, and they don't, or I'm dancing with my girlfriends, or I'm doing this. Or some girls are eager to just go up and hang out with a guy and do whatever. What's your philosophy, let's say, when you go to a party?
Is it girl,
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
both?
As a girl, the
Girls
girls,
first.
they haven't said anything.
Girls first.
I mean, probably more so just have fun, not really even having a plan going into it.
So you don't-
Just
you
socially.
don't think
Yeah.
of that.
Just whatever happens, I guess.
Be a social butterfly.
It
Just like
depends
you
on
are.
the person.
Well, and then I'll switch it and say, guys, then, like, what's the objective then? If you're pre-gaming,
Get hammered, man!
if you're pre-gaming, like, and you're getting ready, like
Yeah.
the point is
Chest
obviously
bumping, ram your head through the wall.
right.
Kidding.
The point is though, if you pregame, you're obviously trying to get to a point where you're intoxicated. Then you go to the party and you're drinking some more, and then you're basically out of it. But as guys, are you looking to hook up with somebody when you go to a party, or is it just something?
I would say it depends if you're single or not. If you're a single guy, I would say most of us would agree that you're drinking and going to a party to talk to women. Maybe not necessarily have sex with them. Maybe hoping in the future that something else could happen in that way. But I think it just depends on the circumstance that you're in
I can
at that
say-
moment in time.
It's less fun when there's no women at the bar or something like that. Like where I would like to go out and meet women most of the time.
Right.
So it is my end game sex? Obviously not, but what happens type of thing. If they say yes, I'm not gonna deny it.
So has this happened though at parties where they're both drunk, or one's super drunk and one's not, and the guys are sitting there and they go, you know, I have my guy's back. Let's say he wants to go have sex with this girl, and they turn around and it's bro code to help your buddy out, and so you turn around. And does that happen at parties?
Yeah. Yeah. Talk somebody up, yeah.
I mean,
That's not the sign of a leader.
thank you. We all learn leaders, yes. That's a good point, though.
That's just the vulture following the rest of the pack.
Sure. So, okay, if you were a male, so we can all agree that you would step in and say something. If you were, let's say, a little intoxicated men or women, and you didn't know that person, would you still jump in and do something? Or would you not do anything?
I think you've got a responsibility. I mean, if you're in a situation, you have the responsibility to do it. I mean, it's one of those old adages, you fly with a sparrow, they'll call you a sparrow, you know? If you're in a situation where you can do something about it, but you don't do it, you're just as guilty, you know?
I think you also gotta assess it like am I 5'5" and this guy's 6'6" and 400 pounds heavier? No, obviously not 400 pounds heavier, but you know what I mean. Like, is it like like if I say something, am I gonna get killed in a state where he's fully like incapable of understanding anything that comes out of my mouth? You know.
That's a good point.
I think it's important too to like bring it to the attention of the people around you rather than you just like alone confronting that person, because yeah, something could escalate.
Yeah, like
and no one else.
maybe he has friends there that
Right.
you know.
So maybe if I didn't like know the person directly, I'd like bring it to other people's attention and be like, hey, do you like see what's happening?
Sure.
Should we do something?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Because it's hard to judge. Are they a couple type of thing? If it's people that I don't know type of thing,
Yeah.
is that that's just how they are as a couple, or like I mean I'd like to find out, like, okay, she's safe or whatever, but
Yeah.
they're just, it's hard to go up there and just be like, you need to stop type of
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Well, that's my girlfriend.
like, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I'll just read you some stats just to kind of ponder that real quick, and then we'll wrap that up, and we'll just watch the movie real quick. Just based off of some stats, the Federal Bureau of Investigation revealed 3 fundamental realities that happen with this. So, most interpersonal violence is perpetrated by individuals who in some way are known to the victim. So, rape tends to happen, or those situations tend to happen with people that are known. Most of the violence is never reported to authorities. Can we guess why that happens?
People are embarrassed.
Embarrassed. You know the person, you don't want them to get in trouble, right? Traumatized. 3, most perpetrators of this violence are never prosecuted. So that's a big thing. A high number of rape cases that happen on campus involve alcohol and revolve similarly to this particular case. Although it might be awkward and not the cool thing to do, confronting a friend, could ultimately help all parties in the end, legally, physically, and emotionally. About 80% of men and 55% of men involved in acquaintance rape, as it's called, have been drinking or taking drugs before the attack happens. 80 to 90% of women who are assaulted on college campuses are assaulted by men they knew, like I said, including fellow college students or classmates. And then 84% of men who are charged and committed rape said that their actions and what they did was not rape. So, yeah. So a lot of it comes down to, again, like I said, consent, what's legal, but what's right, how much alcohol you consume, and it all stems down to what, Zach?
Respect.
And
Being a leader.
leadership. All right, let's watch this video real quick, and then we'll wrap it up and be done.
But
That's what sex is. It's all he said, she said.
there's your flirty smile, Phil.
Sexual assaults are happening to young women and men, and one more is too many. Visit whoareyou.co.nz for contact details, help and support. You can be the difference in how the story ends.
Emily? Thanks for bringing her home. Where are you staying tonight?
I was just going to stay here.
Sweet, I'll get your blanket for the couch.
Sorry. Excuse me.
I'm gonna go home. You gonna go home? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah. See you, mate.
Perfect. This kind of wraps everything up with this, but what do you guys think of that video?
Oh, you're starting with me?
Yes.
I mean, it summed it up pretty good.
Were you confused at first? Because when the first time I watched that, I was confused because I didn't know if anyone was going to step in and do something, because kind of like what we talked about, and then it rewound everything and showed what can happen when no one says anything and what does happen to the other side with leadership and everything from all aspects.
I think that was kind of a weird example, too. 'Cause I think most people have friends that they go out with. You know.
Well, she won.
And I mean, she had a friend, but where was that guy? That guy just seemed like,
Well,
the
like,
way that
they
movie
had their
portrayed
spare,
him.
But then
Yeah,
it was just
I didn't even see.
yeah,
Did he
I
have
didn't
any
see-
friends?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed weird. Like, I think that movie could have been a lot better done than that.
Okay.
Thanks for critiquing.
Thanks for your opinion. Well,
Just saying, I'm being
I was
honest.
gonna say there was a little weird with the legal side of things, with the bouncer right there going over and technically shoving that
Yeah,
guy.
that was like, that was a little excessive there.
Right.
Yeah.
You could have probably done something better than just shove the guy. Also, were you guys kind of wondering why it was a nice gesture, he put her in a cab, but he put her in a cab and she probably has no clue where she's at.
Yeah.
because-
And what if that cab is like the brother of the guy that? Yeah. I mean, who knows? At that point, then, yeah, that's probably not a smart idea.
What do
to
you think
throw
the
her in a
best
cab.
example of that was? Was it the bartender, the friend, the other friend, the roommate,
I'd
or all
say
three of them?
the friend is most common.
The friend is most common?
Yeah.
Coming out and breaking it up.
Again, saying you can sleep on the couch, I'll get you a blanket.
That one?
Yeah.
The roommate?
No, I was talking about the last one that was rewound.
Oh, I was gonna say I think the bartender was the best example.
Yeah, the bartender was the best example.
Calling over and
Yeah, that was probably the smartest thing they did in that movie.
right. I think maybe even too, I would say, if you could go to as far as to the girl her roommate who stepped in and didn't thoroughly just kick the guy out, but was like, okay, I
Yeah.
trust you enough that you're here, you're not gonna do anything, but we'll put you on the couch.
Yeah.
So, but I think it all kind of summed everything up perfectly from what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you guys learned a thing or two. Did ya? Raise your hand if you did. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
And cut. He's gonna keep it going.